And I think I learned a lot of my lessons, I guess, on male-female dynamics to a degree from my childhood. Like I remember one time my father was away at a chess tournament for a month and a half. He was away for a really long time. He was at a chess tournament, playing chess all over the country. Came back after a month and a half. Within 45 minutes, him and my mom are arguing. I think she found something in his pocket, phone numbers. I don't know what it was. Started arguing. We just walked in the house. I started arguing, and he came down to me and said, son, give me a hug. Gave him a hug. He goes, all right, see you in a few weeks. I said, where are you going? He goes, when you're older, you'll understand. Your mother won't shut up.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca, and today we are going to look at a clip from the 5-hour interview that Valuetainment did with Andrew Tate. Now, I happened to watch most of it, and I found it really interesting. I thought it was such a comprehensive interview, and it made you think a little bit differently about Andrew Tate. It gave you full context, full perspective of what's been going on instead of these little sound bites. However, I can't be doing a 6-hour stream about this, so I'm going to take a clip that Valuetainment clipped out themselves, and I'm going to react to it. Now, this one was really important because it talks about his mom and the impact of his parents on his life. So we're going to jump into it. But before we do, if you guys like me, like this video, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's jump into it.
What positive or negative influence, you talk about your dad, you said women, what was it, booze, gambling, right? You talk about that. We also talk about the positive influence of that. What positive or negative influence did mom have over you?
Yeah, so my mother was fantastic. She was an amazing mother. I don't know if I can talk about positive and negatives. My mother was very much subservient to my father, which was a good thing. They used to have arguments, etc. And I think I learned a lot of my lessons, I guess, on male-female dynamics to a degree from my childhood. Like I remember one time my father was away at a chess tournament for a month and a half. He was away for a really long time. He was at a chess tournament, playing chess all over the country. Came back after a month and a half. Within 45 minutes, him and my mom are arguing. I think she found something in his pocket, phone numbers. I don't know what it was. Started arguing. We just walked in the house. I started arguing, and he came down to me and said, son, give me a hug. Gave him a hug. He goes, all right, see you in a few weeks. I said, where are you going? He goes, when you're older, you'll understand. Your mother won't shut up. Walked out the door. I didn't see him again for 2 weeks. I said, who he was. Like, I come home. Oh, you want to fuck this? Fine. That's how he was as a man, right? So I learned, I'm not saying that I'm that way, but this is my childhood, right? I saw it. But my mother was quite subservient to my father. My father was certainly a disciplinarian. He was certainly the man who's in charge of the house. My mother did her job fantastically. She taught us how to read. She fed us very well. She made sure we ate good. And my dad's basic tenet was, your mother is in charge of keeping you alive. Food, go to bed on time, eat good, go to school. She's in charge of keeping you alive. But I'm in charge of teaching you how to be a man and conquer the world. So we have different roles. So she's going to keep you alive. I'm going to turn up. When I turn up, I'm going to teach you some shit. I'm going to teach you how to live. I'm going to teach you how to live. And they're different things. So they had very clear defined roles. To this day, my mother, she's still alive. I've retired her completely. So the first thing I did when I got rich was retire my mother. First thing I did.
Now, he talks about the relationship, the dynamic between his mother and the father, right? His mom was subservient to his father, but whenever he came home from business trips or time away, it was just nagging, fighting in the first couple of minutes of being home. Now, it sounds like his father got very fed up with this behavior and decided to leave and divorce his mom. And this is really what I wanted to talk about. There's an idea that, stay-at-home wives, stay-at-home moms, that we do all this stuff, but then there's still that aspect of nagging. There's still that aspect of constantly going at your husband. So you could be subservient. You could be doing all the things around the house, right? You can be taking care of the house, taking care of the children. As soon as your husband comes home, it's a snap. And I don't think that that is productive to a marriage. Now, I've caught myself doing this a couple times, and you have to have a level of accountability and responsibility to check yourself instead of your husband checking you. But in those moments, I have to think to myself, why am I acting this way? Like, he just came home from a 10-hour day. Why am I doing this? And I get it. Like, you know, if you are at home with the kids all day long, you don't have a lot of girlfriends to talk to, things start to build up and you start having these conversations in your mind. I get it. I've been there as a stay-at-home wife, a stay-at-home mom. However, taking it out on your husband who just trying to come home and, be relaxed after a long day, the nagging doesn't help. The nagging is not going to uplift and make your relationship stronger, make your marriage stronger. And I see this very often. If you find yourself in this situation, I would encourage you as a woman to take a step back, understand why you're feeling this way, right? Is it because you feel like you need more help? Is it because you feel bored? Is it because, you need something else to do? What is the underlying issue? Are you jealous that your husband can leave and be outside of the house and work outside the house? Is it that you don't make money? What are these questions, right? What is that why of why you're feeling that way? And once you get down to the root of it, you can start making these changes. Well, maybe I should pick up a hobby. Maybe I should learn an online skill. Maybe I need to find girlfriends, other moms, other stay-at-home wives to do life with, to go work out together. We need to get down to the root of it, because if you continue to let it fester, that friction will break up the marriage. Okay, whether it comes from the woman or the man, at some point there is a breaking point. Because what it does is it emasculates your husband. He starts becoming a shell of himself and he doesn't want to deal with you. He would rather stay at work. He would rather stay outside of the home, because he knows as soon as he comes in the home, he's going to be berated with questions. He's going to be constantly hounded. So, as a woman, we need to do our due diligence. We need to understand where is this coming from? Where is this resentment coming from? If you are a passport bro, okay, and you think that going to the Philippines or going to South America is going to solve your issues, you're going to get a subservient wife, you might get that. But a lot of those women are still very nagging. I am sorry to break it to you. I've seen it in my Brazilian family. I've seen it in other Latin American families. It's very traditional on the outside, right? Woman stays home, husband goes to work. However, that relationship from husband and wife, you see the nagging, you see the complaining, you see all of these things happening. Now, if you take the situation of both people working outside the home and the kids go to school or the kids are in childcare, now that complicates it even more, because now, a man is trying to come home and feel relaxed, and he's taken on the day and he fought the demons of the day, right? But the woman also did the same thing. So that level of respect, that level of peace that the man is expecting to get on upon arrival at home, he's not going to get that, because the woman has equally gone out, slayed the dragons, and all that other stuff. Now both are competing to get respect. Both are competing to get peace. I've seen two parents go to work, right? Mother and father go to work, and then the husband comes home early from work that day. Wife expects him to make the food. Wife expects him to figure it out, take care of the kids, get the kids in the bath, all of that stuff, right? And then when she gets home and that's not happening, well, that's the start of a fight. So we need to identify what is optimal, not only optimal for the children, right? But optimal for the parents, for your relationship, the sanity of your relationship. There are ways to live off of either one income or splitting the income, but having the woman work from home. There is that ability. Let's see if there's anything else here.
So eventually my mother was English. We decided to move back to England because England has social housing. You get a free house and you get benefits and that kind of thing. We moved back and my father stayed there. So I didn't see my father very much from the time I moved. My mother was always in charge of keeping me alive, and he was just in charge of like giving me the lessons and stuff. So yeah, it was an interesting life, but he was a super principled man. Like, he turned down money. What was actually interesting towards the end of his life, about 3 or 4 years before he died. No, it must have been way before that, because I didn't have money yet. Maybe 10 years before he died, he called me and said, you know, I've been principled for so long, and the way the world's turning and what American government's doing, and maybe I should have just signed. Or do you think I should have just signed? He didn't say maybe. Do you think I should have just signed? I said, no, Dad, no. You get to live with a pure heart. You shouldn't just sign. Your mother's saying, I should just sign it now because I get back.
Sign what exactly?
Sign the narcissistic personality disorder, sell his sanity, and get back pay, which at the time would be like $500,000. And I should just,
By the way, just so you know, a lot of people sign it. A lot of military. I mean, you know, people who got out that you sign, you get all this incredible pension, back pay.
And why do they want you to sign this? Why do they want his father to sign this?
they want to sign it because he admits fault. It's all your fault. You're wrong about everything. You're a psycho. Your sanity is for sale. You sell your sanity for $5,000 a month.
My
Your
sanity is not for
disability
sale.
is for
Your
sale.
disability, yeah.
Yeah.
So he found out that he could get back pay if he signed it. So he had a long conversation with me, and I said, look, Dad, I think you did the right thing. I'm so proud of you. And we talked back and forth. He said, you know what? Your mother, this is the time we didn't have money. Your mother is a dinner lady. My mother was a dinner lady at this point. After we moved to England, we had some things, but she was a dinner lady. She got like $400 a month for cleaning plates. She had arthritis. She was starting to get bad knee from standing up all day. Because, you know, I'm not even with her anymore. She caused me so many headaches, but I can't let her just wash dishes, son. I might just sign it. I was like, well, Dad, the choice is yours. My dad agreed. He goes, I'm running out of time anyway. I'm running out of life. I taught you boys a lesson. You know what? He went to sign it. He went to the military to try and sign it for the back pay. They declined it. He said, you're not crazy anymore. No, wouldn't give him money. Funny that. So let's talk about that's another story. So when he died, I still didn't have that much money. But then after he died, luckily I started to make money about a year, 2 years later. And because he tried to retire my mother, obviously I also have an own debt to my mother. The first thing I did when I made money was retire my mother. So I'd say to this day, about 15 to 20% of my income goes to my mother. And she has panic attacks. Like, she'll check her bank and be like, what is it? This is too much money. I can't buy it. She's like scared of it. I'm like, just buy a Lambo. Chill. It's fine.
So that is the end of this clip. I found it really interesting that his dad would still want to take care of his mom even after they were divorced, even after they weren't together anymore, that he would go and sign the paper, right? So that his mom wouldn't have to be on her feet all day. I find that very admirable for a man to do that. You don't see that happening in today's age. It's very transactional. Once the divorce is final, people really don't want to interact with their ex-spouse. It's kind of alarming. What I want to nail down here for you guys to understand is that the relationship between husband and wife, mother and father, is so important to the development of children. We see it every single day. Fatherless homes, mothers that are narcissistic, and the fact that families are breaking up over the smallest, minute things. The relationship between husband and wife, mother and father, has deep impacts on your children. It does. It not only impacts them with relationships, how they build relationships with other people, but how they see themselves, how they view the world. I think more often than not, people, husband and wives, mothers and fathers, think more about themselves than their children's life. I think they care more about their own happiness than the happiness of their children. It happens. I see it all the time. I've seen this film, I've seen this movie play out many times. We need to focus on our families. We need to focus on the dynamics of our families. And if you see that something's off, You need to get to the root cause. And maybe therapy is needed. Maybe couples counseling, maybe marriage counseling is needed. Right? Because at the end of the day, this not only impacts your life, your husband's life, but it impacts your kids' lives. And I think that is the most important. All right, guys, that is my rant for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below and let me know down in the comments what you have to say, what you think about this. But that is my video, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.